Oh my god, and we're live. Oh, so sorry about that. Jesus. 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 Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff, my guy. Oh, sorry about that. My goodness gracious. All right, sweet. Now we are in business, everybody. What is going on? We have some stuff to talk about. So welcome to our J Metal special. I'm your host, Jeff DeWitt. Fucking forever late. We will try this again. I'm just gonna take some time and give everybody a chance to kind of come back in. My God. Yeah, I mean, my streaming software died on me. I don't really have an excuse beyond that. So if I'm late, don't wait. Go on without me. I may tarry a while. Yeah, it's pretty much me right now. Sorry for the delay. Had technical difficulties. Live now. All right. Okay. Let's see. All right, so this is going to be our J Metal Throwdown. I have a few bands that I'm going to talk about that are kind of topical and related to, I guess, this guy over here, this latest release, this guy right here, Shu from Galnerius. I'm going to talk about a couple of the bands that are that some of the features on this album belong to. For those of you who don't know, Shu from Galnerius, he actually did release his first solo album. His second solo album. First in that it's a collaboration album, which is kind of new for him. And it had many interesting features on it. Many indeed. And so we're gonna talk about, we did a listening party for the bands of some of those that some of those features belong to. Then we did a listening party for Shu from Galnerius and his album. Excuse me, I'm blasting out the messages to make sure everyone knows that the stream is still on. Okay. We can talk about, so we did a listening party for Shu for Galnerius just now, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive into some of the other bands because they that are tied to the features on his album, because they are most relevant to I think our audience, because there's a few Visual K bands, one band that has at least one Visual K member in it, or someone who is formerly a Visual K musician. We will talk about how all of their more recent stuff went, and then if we'll see if people are watching. I know I kind of started a little late, unfortunately. Late beta, low energy cuck stream is kind of where we're at right now, but if there's anyone watching, maybe 40 minutes in or so, I'll start, or 30 minutes in or so, I'll take some call-ins, because that's a thing that we can do now. And whatever J metal we all want to talk about, guys, we can just kind of do that. I have some ideas. I'm sure you guys have some ideas. You can get into Discord, and there's a link in the description if you want to do the call-ins. Otherwise, we'll do it another day. If you go into VKH Live VKH Live call-in waiting room, I can kind of show that here, I think. I hope. Where did my Discord go just now? Nope, not. Oh God, I thought I dragged it to the right spot. I did not. I'm trying to get you on screen, my guy. Okay, yeah, if you join VKH Underground and you want to get into this guy right here, VKH Live call-in waiting room. If we don't end up doing it tonight, consider this an advertisement for future ones. So, all right, so let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to talk about, we had a lot of features on this album, most prominent of which were, most of interest to many of our viewers would probably be, oh wait, this was the wrong one. This is not what I wanted. So we had a song called Koko de Kugeri to Tenshi wa Utau, which had Sono from Matenrou Opera on it. And vocals from Matenrou Opera. And then we also had another one called Euphoria that had Dancho from NoGoD on it. And then we had two tracks. We had Reason and we had Android Dedication that had Fuki on vocals. And Fuki is the vocalist of Unlucky Morpheus. So let me see how this is looking on stream. Can you guys see this okay? Should I zoom in? Let's see. Looks okay to me, I would say. Okay, maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so yeah, so first of all of these features were pretty interesting. We just listened through to all of them. I gave my initial reaction. I would say the Matenrou Opera one was pretty good. I was excited to see Sono's voice had polished up quite a bit. This is the latest we've heard from him. Well, this is the latest we've heard from everyone that's featured since this came out yesterday. I thought Euphoria, Dancho crushed it in collaboration with Jackie Vincent from none other than one of the founding members of Falling in Reverse, and Shu from Galnerios, just like shredding like crazy. And then Fuki was, she has mind-blowing vocals, and Reason was the PV track, and it was definitely impressive. But I think the much more cohesive one was Android Dedication, which was it just flowed so well. I almost feel like that could have been the PV track over Reason. But we're gonna get into these bands individually. I'm here for a while. I'm scheduled to be here for a while, I suppose. So I'm gonna dive into these, and then we'll dive into all kinds of other stuff too. So we can come back, talk about Shu, we can talk about Galnerius, we can talk about any other J metal stuff you want. So yeah, let's start with NoGoD. So yeah, if you haven't been keeping track of NoGoD, this is what they look like right now. They've kind of quite different from back in the day, I suppose, right, guys? So I remember way back in the day going on a big NoGoD kick, like hardcore NoGoD kick. I was super into them because they have this badass, like almost borderline power metal or symphonic metal kind of sound. but it's tempered, excuse me, with this very Visual K esque kind of vibe, where it's very emotional, it's very impactful kind of music, and that is the general framework that's keeping the all of the more complex instrumentation and stuff in order and in check. And so what that started out as in the beginning is like some like really, really, really impressive music. Like there's a song, there was multiple early songs. Like let's see, if I pull up their discography real quick, because I have to refer to the Japanese pronunciations for some of these. So. Let's see. I believe it was. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so like Kakusei, from their first album, which was called Kakura. I think it was their first album. No, it was their second album. Third album. They have a lot of music. NoGoD has way more music than you would expect. It's the earliest album that's available on Spotify and Apple Music, I believe. And that was a very emotional song in PV. Really grabbed me first time I heard it, even first time I saw it. The guitar playing is phenomenal. The instrumentation is excellent. And then their vocalist here, Dancho, his vocals are really solid. It's like power metal vocals, borderline power metal vocals. And he can really put a lot of heart and passion into his singing in a way that, and I think it's really his vocals and the emotion and everything that drives the music and drives his vocals that prevents you from properly calling NoGoD like power metal or symphonic metal, because they'll go back to almost like a more alt metal kind of vibe because of like the more catchy Visual K style emo vibe of like aspect of some of their music, but it's mixed in with all this badass instrumentation, so it kind of really created this unique sound at the time. We're talking like 2010 when this came out, when I first found it. And then the track that really blew up for everyone was off of their next album called Genjitsu, and it's called Kamikaze. Let me see if I can pull up that. It's super catchy. It's got 402,000 views as of right now. It's just a badass song, man. Like it's almost like Bullet for My Valentine kind of riffs combined with anime opener-esque vocals and a vibe and everything. Just like lots of attitude, lots of badassery going on here. NoGoD's shtick kind of for the longest time is that the vocalist Dancho would sing out of a book, out of a Bible that had a microphone embedded into it. By the way, like they've said multiple times in interviews, it's just part of their shtick. It's nothing serious. It's nothing, like crazy. It's not like some crazy crusade against any kind of religion. It's just kind of there. It's just kind of their thing. So I don't think they mean too much by the name and anything like that. But it's a very, very badass song. So that was really where I got into them, was starting with that. And I definitely followed them for a little bit. I would say up through their album 5, which came out in 2013. And that had the song Utsushio Horror Show on it, and also had the single Stand Up, which was popular. They're really good at making that banger anime opener song. but remaking it in their own kind of heavy metal style. It's really easy to just call them heavy metal, and like just they really emphasize like every aspect of like skillful heavy metal, I suppose. But it's the level of skill with the with Dancho on vocals and then the guitarist as well. Just all of the instrumentation. It almost doesn't feel fair to just like label it as that, because there is like a certain level of skill involved, that it's like it's a little bit of a step up, I would say, for NoGoD. Then after that, I kind of like fell off with them. But they've released several albums since then. So I went back through very recently and I listened through. So we're talking like, okay, so I need the energy for this because my God, they have a lot of music out. This band is over 10 years old by now. They're like 12 years old. It's crazy. They're just kind of just like sitting there, chilling there. And they do pretty well in the Oricon charts and stuff too. They do like, they hit like the mid 30s, mid 20s with their albums, or maybe in the teens. They do better with the albums than their singles. So, people are buying them for their albums and the whole metal experience, I guess. But, okay, so we had... So I got into them, the earliest I got into them was Kakera with... which was 2010. I think I had found them in like 2011. So they had Kakera out already, and then they had Genjutsu out, which came out in 2011 as well. And you had another album, 5, in 2013, or V. It's a V. Then after that, you had a mini album, Shikisai, but then you had a full album in 2014 called Make a New World. Then you had Renovate in 2016. The PV track on that was Vampire, for reference. And then you had Proof in 2017, and the PV tracks off of that were Missing and Arlequin. And Arlequin we just did a listening party for. So, I will say I listened through all of these, skimmed some of them, listened through all of them. Listened all the way through for others. I will be upfront with you. I was more inclined to listen through their older stuff. Like I'm talking Genjutsu and Kakera. So NoGoD really started off like much more on the emotional side than on the like focusing on the heavy metal side of things. They were still good at heavy metal, but like Kakera is full of like ballads and pseudo anime openers and stuff, but they do it like really well. And then I think Genjutsu was kind of peak NoGoD in my opinion. Like they just really nailed a lot of things in terms of they have to do this weird strange balance that no other band does, which is like skillfully executed heavy metal instrumentation and then this like catchy, emotionally charged, kind of Visual K influenced vibe that they put through most of their music. And I think they nailed that the best in Genjutsu in 2011. I don't think they've brought it back since then. 5 was just kind of interesting because of Utsushio Horror Show. I thought that was just like a really fun song. Like Dancho like opens up that song just going, yeah! And like, just kind of really having fun with that song. So it's cool to see them like have fun with it. The album itself was a little bit unremarkable. And then unfortunately, for the next few albums, it kind of all runs together. Like you're looking at Make a New World in 2014. I don't, off the top of my head, I think songs like Hate This World, maybe Easy Life kind of stand out a little bit, I think. But really, between that and then Renovate in 2016, Renovate, the album was a little bit more interesting because Vampire, the PV track, it was a bit more of like that badass kind of like really getting into old school heavy metal kind of attitude a little bit, in at least in the choruses and things like that. And then but really a lot of that kind of ran together too. I don't think it was until Proof, which was their most recent album, that they kind of started to get even more interesting. Like Arlequin, which we just listened to, kind of took the attitude and vibe from Vampire, which is like this old school throwback to stuff I think of like Metallica. I know it's not Metallica because it's much like the chugging guitar riffs are much faster. It's like much more badass. It's some old metal band. I don't listen to boomer metal, I'm sorry, so I don't know what it is. But you know, if I was gonna be like some generic, you know, dipshit that didn't know his old school music, I'd be like, hey, Metallica, da 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 da. Maybe I'm thinking of Slayer. I don't know. If it's old, I don't give a shit, to be honest. So, but it sounds like some kind of throwback sound. It's kind of cool. And Arlequin, at least they really brought that out with, and we listened to that EP earlier tonight. But I remember songs like Henrietta was a pretty cool song. I remember that one. I'm just trying to look at what else I listened to here. Proof, I got the vibe that it's like they had tweaked the production style and they had you know, a bit more attitude throughout the album. So I will say, overall, there's nothing wrong with the music they're making. It's not like it's bad music. It's just it all kind of runs together. It's hard to pick something out. So what does that mean? It means NoGoD is great driving music. If you have a road trip you got planned and you want to like put the pedal to the metal and listen to some badass metal music, you can just put this whole fucking discography on and you're like good to go. You won't remember which song is which probably, besides the few that really make you pay attention and like, ooh, add to favorites and stuff like that. But yeah, great driving music. And then their most recent album, I feel like, stands out quite well. And then outside of that, PV tracks often kind of stick out a bit, or they either stick out or they just sound like you know, an anime opener to a degree. But they still do have a formula that is kind of unique to them, and that it is the skillful metal instrumentation that is deftly balanced with the lunacy style VK formula that makes the songs catchy. So they're hitting this nice happy medium. It's just if you listen to them, if you marathon their music, you will get sick of it. But if you like put them in a shuffle with a bunch of other bands, you'll know them when you hear them. So that's kind of the weirdness that goes along with NoGoD. I was really happy to, you know, I was, you know, happy, cautiously optimistic to see them kind of breaking out a little bit with their latest album. I was very happy to see Damsho from NoGoD just really breaking out on with his feature on Shu's album, which we also listened to tonight. I thought they did a really good job with that. I thought that was one of my favorite songs, was the one he was on. So they really, really crushed it. So yeah, I mean, I think that about sums it up for NoGoD for now. I would say definitely check them out. You know, if you want like a deep cut idea, okay, so there are some idea for like some nice deep cuts. So on a lot of their albums, they have these these tracks that begin with a Roman numeral. Actually, the earliest one, I think, is the Roman numeral 2, and then and that's on. Oh, excuse me. That's on. Let's see. It's on Kakara. It's Roman numeral 2 and then Kaigi in dashes. But then I won't show you the names of these because it'll be easy to remember. You just gotta look for Roman numerals in their discography, and their whole discography is up on Apple Music and Spotify and all that stuff. So, and then on the Genjutsu album, there's a Roman numeral 3. It's called Jitsuzon, and then on the album 5, like Roman numeral 5, like a V. It's a Roman numeral 4, and it's called Tasha Philosophia. And then on Make a New World, it jumps back to Roman numeral 1, and it's Roman numeral 1 Kaiko, and then I think that's the most that they've done. That's the latest they've done. But if you go and find those, just the Roman numeral number songs, those are all like really interesting, badass songs that are, they're not instrumentals, but they are heavy with, or they're, you know, heavily filled with like really badass instrumentation. They're just, they're obviously part of a series. It's very obvious that the band members are dropping a lot of their talent into those tracks. I would check those out. That is going to be my hot tip for y'all. For NoGoD. Other than that, you're just going to have to listen through and kind of pick and choose your favorites. It is kind of a little like 6 of this, 1/2 of the other kind of thing when it comes to, you know, certain songs. It's like, oh, this is the same difference, the same thing kind of. Other songs definitely kind of stick out a bit more. So, but it is kind of hard to find those. I think it's going to depend on the metal listener, I guess, in terms of how much they stick out. For me, they didn't stick out too much until I found the ones that did stick out, and they were kind of few and far between. But overall, like, the music itself on average is above average. It's, you know, it's definitely enjoyable driving music, you know, it's literally like literally and figuratively, it's like driving in energy and stuff like that. So, Slayer is thrash. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of thrashy. It's not that thrashy, though. It's not really thrashy, I guess. Slayer's not who I'm thinking of for that. I would say, yeah, NoGoD fell under a lot of people's radars, Asuka. I'm not sure why. Their music's definitely around. I think it really is. It might just be the fact that they beat the same drum like so many times that, I don't know. There's only so many times you can make the same song over and over. I keep trying to warn this about Visual Kei music, and I keep trying to be nice about it, which I'm probably just going to stop doing that and just get blunt about it. But I'm trying not to, you know, offend people while we're still a small show. That's a horrible thing to say, but I mean, I'm trying to be diplomatic here, but I mean, it is a repeat complaint that I hear about Visual Kei in general, is that individual bands and then the scene as a whole will just do the same thing over and over again and do it into the ground. So it looks like it's almost like NoGoD kind of did that to themselves. So that may be why they dropped off the radar in general, because it's been the same thing over and over. It's the same good thing, but again, you know, like, this has been a problem. This is what differentiated 2018 from everything else, from every other year, for almost every other year, is that 2018 was the most musically diverse year, I think, ever since I've been in Visual Kei. And, you know, I guess I don't think enough people acknowledge that or like realize that. I'm not sure how many people realize that, but like, that is what made 2018 so good, is that there was diversity, there was creativity, people took risks. You know, there's only so many times I can hear a fucking anime opener, and, you know, when you're a metal band and you do it, like, NoGoD had a hot take on it initially, but, you know, it's like, I don't know, how many times do I have to say? I mean, how many more times? How many more times can it be Kawaii Desume or you know, super, like, Sugoi and everything, before it's like, wait, this is just the same thing again, you know? So, but, you know, people reap the benefits of what they sow. So I think hopefully NoGoD sees some success from mixing it up a bit, because, you know, it's definitely been more interesting, this newer stuff. So, let me pull up our next guy that we're going to talk about. Let's see. Also, let me pull up the stream and make sure it's fucking working still. Wonderful. Okay. It is, in fact, working. All right. Okay, so that's NoGoD. So Dancho was featured on Shu's album. That's where that ties into. Also featured was Sono, who is the vocalist of Matenrou Opera, which, by the way, this is a great look. I just want to point that out. This is a really fresh look that Matenrou Opera's got going on. So we listen. Okay, so before I get into what we listened to tonight and how I feel about their latest music, we need to kind of go back. Let me see if I have some articles from VKH on there's a lore with what's been going on with Matenrou Opera. They've been through a lot, okay? So Matenrou Opera's kind of been through, all right, first of all, first things first, something you need to know about me. I fucking love Matenrou Opera, or I loved Matenrou Opera. I still do. I really love Matenrou Opera. From back in the day, like, just super big fan from the first time I heard I have to pull it up in order to say it. It's so long. I can say the first word. I can't say the rest of it without help. Otoshiana no soko wako na sekai. From the first time I heard that, and then Helios right after it, so like right after they'd gone major initially is when I found them. I just fell in love with the band's sound. Matenrou Opera's songs translates into skyscraper opera. Matenrou Opera's name translates into skyscraper opera, and that is exactly what their sound is. It only improved and improved for a long period of time. They had the Kasai Gekijo no Gloria, I think, album. The album with like multiple songs that had Gloria in it. And that has arguably my favorite song by them on it, which was Innovational Symphonia. And that was really starting to see their like signature sound in symphonic metal like unfold on like a grand major band level scale. My God, we have way too many too many articles on Matenrou Opera. I'm trying to get back to their latest, news that I have with them. Okay, so you had that Kasai Gekijo no Gloria. I'm stumbling over that name. I apologize. And then you had Avalon, which was another solid album. I will confess, like I tend to listen to select non-PV tracks, very select. But then like all of the PV tracks I'm like super into, all of like the energetic heavy ones. It's hard for me to get through a Matenrou Opera album for some reason. It's just, I've just really dug the singles, but like just really, really dug them. Like I feel like I've contributed to half the PVVs, to be honest, of stuff like, the two that I described, and then like Justice. Justice was the first track that you know, this was way before I'd found bands like Galnerius. Like Justice was the track that introduced me to the concept of a guitar and keytar duet, like and like a blazing fast duet, and that blew my mind. When I first heard that. So like this was like a band that really introduced me to a lot of the aspects of symphonic metal. So this is like taking you back like a ways. Like this is taking you back to like 2011, 2012. This is when I found them. And then, you know, you had Gloria, Innovational Symphonia, Kasai, Gekisho, the No Gloria. And then you had Avalon and the Avalon album and the PV tracks off of that, which are in Japanese, and I don't feel like, you know, pronouncing those. And then you had the next album after that, which was Chikyu, and that was dealing with like a series of singles that had been released as representing different elements, I think. So you had like Burning Soul, which has an amazing series of instrumentation in there. Another super badass, like even more badass, like duet between, you know, the guitarist and the keyboardist. And then, you know, you had like Chimecho was a dope song on there, and Pandora, you know, very epic sounds. And then that was like 2016. 2015, 2016. And then soon after that, let me see if I have my... So the former guitarist of Matenrou Opera was Anzi. And Anzi, in July of 2016, announced that he was departing from the band. And this was a big blow to Matenrou Opera. So all the albums I just named off, all the PVs I just listed out, or all the tracks I just listed out that are like amazing songs and everything, they were all prior to Anzi leaving. Okay, and Anzi leaving. So I guess the supposed reason that he left is differences in consciousness and belief. So musical differences. And you know, he's still around. Like for those of you who don't know, Versailles is Matenrou Opera's senpai band. So Anzi and even even current members of Matenrou Opera, they're all oftentimes brought in as support members for like Kamijo's solo project. You'll see them in the PVs. Those are usually Matenrou Opera members, at least some of them, in Kamijo's PVs. So, and like he's still around. It's not like it's you know anything particularly. It wasn't like a nasty thing or anything like that. But him leaving really was like ripped almost like the heart out of the band to a degree. I mean, it really, like when I because he was such an integral part, because he was an amazing guitarist. He was able to fit perfectly with the intense symphonic metal vibe. His style of playing really did fit perfectly, and they're still recovering from Anzi leaving. I would say. Which sucks, because I knew this was going to happen when he announced he was leaving. Because the problem with Matenrou Opera is that they were Anzi was the only guitarist. It was Anzi, and then they had a bassist, they had a keyboardist, they had a drummer, and they had a vocalist. So it's not like there was another guitar. It's not like they lost half of their their guitar duo. It was all Anzi, and so they did it. They tried a few different things. They had they did an EP in 2016. It was called Phoenix Rising, I believe, And for that one, they brought on Leda of Delhi fame, and that was kind of interesting. You could tell though that like the identity had definitely been shattered or broken to a certain degree. It, kind of, Jesus Christ, what's going on outside my fucking apartment on Thursday night? Oh God, don't knock on my door, please. Fucking drunk college kids. On a Thursday. But yeah, you could tell there's definitely a problem. And then in 2017, there was a problem with the music, there was a problem with the formula, there was a problem with the feng shui. It wasn't all quite there. And it's understandable, is like what I really want to drive home. It's not like they did anything wrong, Musical differences happen, members leaving happens. That happens and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just in their case, it's unfortunate because it really screwed with their music, I feel like. It didn't just screw with their music, it screwed with their identity. And like I said, I think they're still recovering from it. They put out an album in 2017 called Pantheon Part 1, and then they put out an album in 2018 called Pantheon Part 2. Pantheon Part 1, I was honestly wholly disinterested in, and we've talked about Pantheon Part 1 and the episodes of VKH Breakdown when we were doing that podcast. When we were first doing it, I think we talked about it, and it is a fairly uninteresting album. Unfortunately, I want to be really interested in it because I really want to be interested in it because I really love Matenrou opera. I was not really impressed by it, and that sucks. Now, I did listen to Pantheon Part 2, or I started listening to it. I was skimming through it. Like NoGoD, they have a pretty lengthy discography. So when I was reviewing for this stream, I kind of skimmed where I could. But Pantheon Part 2 was actually a little bit different because it was definitely an improvement. They were definitely improving. But like keep in mind, I'm pretty sure they were using support guitarists for all of both of these albums, and both of these albums, these are like two full, like these aren't mini albums. Like I can pull it up. Yeah, by the way, so Tengoku no Aru Basho is like a gorgeous ass song from Avalon. I think that was the only one I didn't say. And then the one I kept screwing up was Kasai Togekijo no Gloria. Okay, so Pantheon Part 1 is 10 tracks. Pantheon Part 2 is 10 tracks. Okay, my bad. I take it back. They both came out in 2017. Pantheon Part 1 came out early 2017. Pantheon Part 2 came out second half 2017. But Pantheon Part 2 was much more listenable. Like all of the tracks on average were more listenable actually than any other Matenrou opera album I'd ever heard. Because like I said, I only really listened to the PV tracks personally. So I was kind of taken aback by that. And they're doing everything they can to kind of compensate for the fact that one of their core members, one of the core influencers of their identity kind of, left. And they've kind of had to recreate it as best as possible. They've had to, fall back and regroup as best as they can. So you'll notice it's a lot more about atmosphere, about the general vibe that they're presenting than about like bringing out the instrumentals and the front and center. The keyboardist doesn't really have a guitarist to play off of, so the keyboardist started utilizing him for more and more atmospheric music or parts of the music, more of like a background role. But then the problem is that because it seems like they were support guitarists, there wasn't anything particularly interesting about the guitars going on, so there was no real front-facing part of the song beyond Sono singing. So that was like the real problem with Pantheon Part 1. Pantheon Part 2, it seems like they got the songs more catchy, more engaging, and just like emitting like a generally, interesting aura or vibe. So I think that's why I was more engaged in Pantheon Part 2 than Part 1. But then in 2018, a bunch of things happened. So first of all, I just gave you a crash course in the old stuff, so let's talk about the new stuff, I guess, or the latest stuff. So first of all, you had their drummer fucking retiring from music. So, so you announced he's retiring from music. Let me pull up another piece of information. Oh, God. Yeah, so so that kind of sucked. Drummer from Matenrou Opera, I feel like was almost a little bit more salvageable. Was noticeably more salvageable than Anzi leaving. The guitar, Matenrou Opera's guitar solos Anzi's guitar solos are very distinct. The way he plays is very he's just able to shred very quickly. He plays on a slightly raw guitar sound, guitar distortion usually, that just kind of reverberates just enough while he's like shredding that just like really just drives it home even more. Whatever crazy melody he's doing, he can also do slow. He also does slow solos really well. But yeah, I mean, like it was really. Losing you obviously sucked on top of that, so I'm like, oh God, what's gonna happen now? They ended up replacing him with a drummer named Hibiki. He was a support drummer for Demlim at one point, and then he went on to Matenrou Opera and a couple other bands, and eventually became Matenrou Opera's support drum full-time drummer. I don't think, and I'll explain why, I don't think there was much of an issue with the drumming. So, in terms of replacing the drummer. Not nearly as much as Anzi, which was like a very unique guitarist. It would be like losing Hizaki. Like Versailles losing Hizaki. It's very roughly equatable to that. Now, the next interesting thing that happened, which was really good news, is they got a new guitarist. They got a new permanent guitarist, okay? And it is Jay, who is from Lightbringer. So Lightbringer went on indefinite hiatus. By the way, next band we're talking about is Unlucky Morpheus, which the vocalist of Unlucky Morpheus is Fuki, and she was the vocalist of Lightbringer. So Jay from low-key a Lightbringer stream. Those of you who don't know, Lightbringer was like a badass power metal band, a badass J metal band. They fucking crushed it back in the day. They were what got a lot of people, including myself, into power metal, like just regular J metal, power metal kind of stuff. So the fact that those members are still around in any form, and Fuki's obviously at the top of her game right now, as far as I'm concerned, is great. So, this is the guitarist that played along with Fuki, if you're familiar with Fuki from Unlucky Morpheus. Winona, I am still streaming. that's probably more my fault than anyone else's. I've been going at it for quite a while now. But anyways, so then they announced a single. It's called Invisible Chaos. So we actually just listened to this single earlier tonight. I had listened to the lead track once or twice prior to it. Kind of reacted to it largely, like the B-sides and everything, and the main track, which, you know, if I haven't listened to it a few times, like I'll have forgotten it. Yeah, so I'm happy to say I think Matenrou Opera is back on the up and up. The sound was much more cohesive on Invisible Chaos, like on the lead track, on all the tracks actually. Invisible Chaos was really cool because it really started to feel like old school Matenrou Opera. Like they were really like the pacing was back, the flow was back. There were great instrumentals. It just felt like order was slowly being restored to the force. So I would strongly encourage you. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. That's why we did listening parties for it. You know, we don't do it for hard to get stuff usually. So it was really great to see that. I did actually want to highlight, because I don't think anybody else will really highlight this. On Invisible Chaos, let's see, there is a B-side called Kodoku wo shiru ni wa ichibio mo nagasugiru. And I think that track kind of, it showed off the best of what they had kind of experimented with from Pantheon, in that like the keyboardist really had some awesome instrumentals, awesome like distorted keyboard, some distorted keys, basically, keyboard playing. I compared some of the sounds that he was using, or that they were using, to Chrono Trigger. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fresh and unique. And so you've got, and then, the last track was like a bit of a rocking track with like a bit of a fun vibe to it. Kind of like what they had tried back on Avalon with their song, what was it called? Tengoku no Tobira, I believe. It's the one with the PV where he's got the top hat on. Well, I guess there's two with that, but like the one where it's more jazzy, more kind of edgy sounding. Yeah, so you had Invisible Chaos. So you had Invisible Chaos, which was like on, it's them coming back, and then it's Matenrou Opera bringing like Matenrou Opera's like strong, powerful, emotional vibes back, and that made me really happy. And then you had this B-side that was also like just really fresh and interesting. Almost made me want to go back and re-listen to Pantheon Part 2 and kind of like dig through it and see maybe I need to give it another shot. I definitely have no interest in Part 1, to be quite frank with you. But I am definitely excited to see what is coming from them next, and we kind of know what's coming from them next because, and I'm happy to say we reported on this forever ago. By the way, I didn't necessarily realize that, but Shiro, our Shiro is a great reporter. So Matenrou Opera is releasing a new album, and it's coming up on us. It's going to be on February 27th. It's called Human Dignity, and it is available on CD Japan. I'm I can pull up for pre-order now. I might make a article about it if there's details available, like a track list. I mean, I'll have to go hunt it down on their official homepage anyway, but it is about that time. We are kind of getting there. Oh yes, we do. We definitely have a track list. All right, cool. I can make this. Yeah. All right. There's a limited edition that comes with the PV for Human Dignity, the track, and Invisible Chaos. PVs for both. So yeah, we're gonna be able to see what Matenrou Opera's got on this next album, and I'll probably listen to the whole album. We'll probably do a listening party for it. Matenrou Opera's pretty dope. Just in general, and it feels like they're pushing, making a comeback. I'm rooting for them really hard because I was a huge fan of their stuff back when they had Anzi. Like, I went back and listened to Otoshiana. No, I can never say it right. God damn it. Where do I go to pull that up? Oh. Excuse me. Otoshiana no Soko wa Konasekai. Apple Music kind of has it kind of fucky there, but yeah, I went back and listened to that, watched that PV, and I almost like choked up and teared up a little bit because it was just good to hear them again and good to hear their old music again. It'd been so long. What is chat saying? I wanted to get into Matenrou Opera after the last stream on them, but couldn't. Like, it just wasn't my thing. On the other hand, I really like Helios. Have you had dinner, Jeff? I'm making mine. I had a really strong lunch, like flap steak, which is like the nectar of the gods of steak. So I will probably make a late night dinner after this stream. But like, it's probably going to be more like a small snack. I thought I was hungry at the end of the last stream, but I'm kind of good at this point. But yeah, so that is the story. So this has been the story all about how Matenrou Opera got turned upside down, and now they're coming back and making it come around, making a comeback. So yeah, that's about where I'm at on Matenrou Opera. Fingers crossed for Human Dignity. Fingers crossed that they restore some of their human dignity on their album titled Human Dignity, okay? That would be big fingers crossed on that. I would really like that. That would really be a great start to 2019. February 27th is the release date. That's 3 days after my birthday. That would be a great post-birthday present if they pulled that off. I really don't want to see this band like go through any more struggling with their music because I really fucking like their old stuff. So that's all I'm going to say on the matter, I think. I might get upset if I keep going. So, last but certainly not least is, oh, Jesus Christ, Unlucky Morpheus, which, my God, this band. Alright, so I was a big Unlucky Morpheus fan going into tonight. And I didn't think I could become an even bigger Unlucky Morpheus fan. Lo and behold, we had a listening party for their first full album, Change of Generation, which, by the way, like broke the top 30 on Oricon, which is crazy because like they're it's like a 30 spot jump from their single, and the singles usually do better than albums on Oricon, from what I've seen, with certain exceptions, but. For VK bands or VK adjacent bands or J-Rock, J-Metal, that kind of stuff. Change of Generation, which we did a listening party for, is fucking phenomenal. Like, let me pull up, like, what we're dealing with here. I mean, some of you watching now were listening then, and Woo, 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 woo. So for those of you who aren't familiar, I'm not going to go into their full history here. That's not entirely the purpose of this stream, but I will give a little bit more detail than I did earlier. So you have, so as you can see, I liked a lot of songs on here. There was lots of hearts that I give. I don't usually put little hearts on Apple Music. I'm very picky about that. So if you got 5, that's impressive. So Unlucky Morpheus is the latest band from. I mean, it's the current full-time focus band for Fuki from Lightbringer, I suppose. The thing is, this band's actually been around since 2008. It's been a side project for a lot of different musicians. For starters, so they started out as basically for up until 2017. They were I'll say up through 2015. They were a cover band, and they would cover music. Toho music is what it's called. And this is where I sound like a total normie, because I am when it comes to this stuff. I'm curious about it. I'd like to learn about it one day, but I had to Google it and just look it up and be like, what the fuck is this? So the Toho project is a series, from what I understand, is a series of 2D bullet hell games. And I guess they just have a really cool style and cool music and everything like that. And so this band has just been covering music from a bunch of games in the Toho project, in the Toho series. And so for that reason, and for a few other reasons, I genuinely now consider Unlucky Morpheus to be the Wagaki band of symphonic metal, or of power metal, or of both, because it is they started out as a cover band and just were as a really talented cover band. All of the members come from a variety of different backgrounds that are all, they're all like, fairly experienced / really experienced musicians. Like Fuki is from Lightbringer, which we already talked about, was like a super badass power metal band, that got a lot of people into J metal in general. There's a violinist. The violinist is Jill from Rose Noir, which is a Visual K group that's signed to Starwave Records. They're a brother-sister duo. She's the sister in it. If you've been on Starwave, you can look up Rose Noir Feed, and it's a gorgeous song. The song is called Feed, and there's a PV for it. It's gorgeous. It's very low budget PV and everything like that, but it's a really pretty song. They make decent music. Rose Noir for sure. They make some good stuff. And Jill is very, very talented, hyper talented violinist. There are musicians in there they're also from Undead Corporation, who would be the last band I would shout out. And I'm gonna go ahead and put down Undead Corporation as a potential listening party band in the future at some point, because that's another female vocalist band that I think is really cool. They make some cool alt metal. I would say is how you could describe it. Maybe metalcore. Not really though. I would say alt metal. But yeah, so I would say up through 2015, it was very much Toho covers band, very much side project. Then 2017 comes around and they drop this single called Black Pentagram, and it appears that they've just all kind of come together and focused on this as their primary project, because Black Pentagram blew up on everything. It blew up on YouTube. I don't know where else it blew up on. I imagine it blew up in other places, but for like basically a session band, a cover band that, it's kind of like a Cinderella story, like Wagaki band. Like it's broken 1 million views now. people's minds are being blown by it. You know, it's on a smaller scale than Wagaki Band, obviously. I understand that. And Wagaki Band's covering Vocaloid music, which is much more popular than Toho music, which is what, you know, I understand. But it makes sense when you know, if you do the ratio, you take into account that, you know, Wagaki Band, the covers and the kind of music they're making is a much more broad target market than power metal and symphonic metal, which is much more narrow, unfortunately. But, you know, if you like what you like, you're gonna make that kind of music. It's like, whatever. It shouldn't matter what the audience size is, I suppose. So I'm gonna still make the comparison because I definitely think it's accurate, given that context. But Black Pentagram, I stumbled across it randomly, blew my mind, subscribed, was super interested. Next single they bring out is called Cadaver /Revidac, and the PV they dropped for it is a 2-song PV. It's like 9 minutes long, and it turns out that the plot twist you find out halfway through when Cadaver ends and Revidac begins is that the PV starts playing in reverse, and you realize that Revidac is Cadaver spelled backwards, and the song Revidac is the song Cadaver played in reverse. The thing is, Cadaver is chock full of crazy, complicated singing, guitar and violin, you know, really complex duet, badass guitar solo, badass violin solo, badass guitar duet, crazy instrumentation all throughout. So these guys basically made a song that you can play forwards and backwards, and at like the highest skill levels that I can conceive of. So beyond someone like Shu from Galnerius, like that's that shit blew my mind when I first realized what was going on in the PV. I was like, wait a minute, I'm confused. Why did the logo just show up for Cadaver and then flip upside down? And why is the PV rewinding in reverse? And then I looked at the titles, made the connection, and realized that the PV was in reverse, and then realized that the music sounded similar. It's just it was going in reverse, and I was like, and they even went out of their way to release another version of the PV that had like the music notes scrolling along the bottom, as they were going by. Well, let me see. If I'm doing it on recording here, it'd be like down here. It'd be like, and it would be like general notes that either it was almost like easy mode of Guitar Hero, where it's like every 10th note was like the one that was being shown, just so that they didn't have just like a crazy amount of notes all over the place. So that you could keep track of like the general tone, and so whichever was most prominent, like if Fuki was singing, that's like what the melody would be that was being represented with the notes, or if the guitars were playing instead, like if there's a guitar solo or something. So then when it ended and went in reverse for Revidac, they just rewound the sheet music at the bottom, and it just started going the other way, to kind of help visualize it for people that didn't get it. But that blew my mind. And then they dropped this album, Change of Generation, and I hadn't gotten around to listening to the full album actually, and it came out like a while ago in 2018. And man, that album has kind of jumped up there as a potential best of 2018 album for me, and I like completely missed this. I did this with Rain too, with Rain's mini album recently. Just as an aside, like Rain dropped one of the freshest mini albums of like at least second half 2018, and we all missed it because it wasn't up on Apple Music or anything like that. I was able to get a hold of a copy. Finally, was able to get a hold, but and it's super fresh and dope, and nobody knows. And I didn't know at least. And this just like when you hear the problem with symphonic metal has always been, and I've heard this from multiple musicians and everything like that, I guess Yeah, I guess it's the biggest problem. I would say. I was like, should I go there? Should it be like biggest problem? I would say it's biggest problem at this point. Is it all kind of sounds the same, and I keep hearing that, and I'm not hearing that from people that are like. I mean, I'm hearing it from people that are like just general listeners, but I'm also hearing it from musicians, from like literally other people in very adjacent industries to Visual K. I'll put it that way. Music artists and stuff like that. And it's like, it's just not really my thing because it all kind of sounds the same. But you have Unlucky Morpheus here really kind of brings this fresh, like intense energy to it. So I would almost equate it to like if post-hardcore kind of like revived the hardcore scene with like a newfound kind of creative spirit or energy. It's almost what Unlucky Morpheus is doing here, maybe not a not as extreme version, because they definitely keep the traditional power metal and symphonic metal structure in a lot of places, but they definitely bring their own kind of post-power metal sound to it. That's like more ominous, more intense, more energetic, more almost more bombastic, like more, Fuki can really sing. The guitars can really shred. Jill can really, fiddle. Like she can like really do an amazing guitar solo, violin solo, whatever you would call that. And they just do it with such a aggressive confidence and competence that it just really kind of like knocks you on your ass the first time you hear it, man. I was gonna pull something up. I don't remember what now. But yeah, I mean, it's really good stuff. It's really good stuff. If Galnerius kind of was a bit of a snoozer for you, then I would recommend checking out Unlucky Morpheus, because it's kind of like the finalization of like what bands like Versailles and Matenrou Opera started, which was like making power metal more concise, more engaging. And they kind of completed that. Versailles never really fully completed it. Matenrou Opera never really fully completed it. And so I would just say these guys are about as close as we've gotten to completing that kind of attempt to make power metal and symphonic metal concise and digestible without like dumbing it down too much. And just really upping the engagement level, I would say. So, symphonic or power? I think you mean power. I mean, I heard power metal in there as well, if I'm being... I heard symphonic metal in there as well. I mean, there were parts where like it wasn't just Joe playing violin, I don't think. Sheeran was one of the founders of Undead Corporation. Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you, Kim Airblitz. That would be my general assessment of Unlucky Morpheus, I suppose. Just really impressed by the album. What I was getting at with the whole power metal is kind of boring and all the same kind of thing is that I really liked a lot of these non-PV tracks. Like Kizashi almost should have its own PV. I feel like it was so heavy and badass. Requiem was very pretty. Spartan Army was this fantastic instrumental. Like, it was dope, man. It was really dope. Symphonic or power was in the context of the problem with the genre. Yeah, well, they kind of go hand in hand. I don't know. It's complicated. It's stupid. Western genre classifications in this area really kind of suck. Like I literally made an after hours where I went on a rant about this because they lump like 85% of this stuff under progressive metals. Like symphonic metal is considered progressive metal as far as great genius Western rock and metal journalists are concerned. Apparently, the genius is running Wikipedia about metal and shit at least. And other people, it's like, oh, it's just all prog metal. It's like, no, it's fucking not. And like, and then it's like, oh, if it's not prog metal, then I guess it's power metal. And it's like, well, maybe. It's power metal with symphonic stuff in it. So what do you call that? I usually call it symphonic metal, but apparently symphonic metal is prog, and AKA the same general thing we call gent music. So yeah, you're gonna equate the symphonic music and the gent. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna get into this right now. I'm not gonna lose my cool. I'm not gonna let myself get back into this. You guys can watch that rant, but because symphonic isn't within temptation isn't power. I guess. I don't know. It's at what level of electric guitar complexity would Beethoven have accepted for his symphony? Fucking, I don't know. And so it's symphonic power metal. There you go. Which again is something that it doesn't happen too much or enough in Western genre classification, is the double genre descriptor. I don't think. They just go, oh, it's all prog, like gent, right? Fucking. My fellow Westerners make me so mad when they talk about music. My God, they just, I'm viciously drinking water because I'm thirsty. So yeah, that's gonna be my general takes on all that. For Unlucky Morpheus, amazing band. Now we can circle back to Shu, I think. So Shu with Galnerius, I think the general assessment I gave is that I thought there were parts of the album that were fucking brilliant in terms of his solos and the way things came together. Like, I thought the song that they did with Dancho from NoGoD was excellent. I thought the second song they did with Fuki was excellent. I thought the first song that they did with Haruka was quite mind-blowing. I think there were a fair amount of tracks on there where it was almost like they were kind of struggling to find their footing in terms of collaborating together, which is understandable because it is his first collab album. It's only his second solo album. But the skill is still unmatched, even in those songs, I would say, relatively unmatched in terms of like the actual, I mean, the guitar skill is just nonstop ridiculously really good. Outside of that, in terms of making it work, it was a little bit, making it fit with like different collaboration, with the different collaborators. It was either you like really hit on it or he's a little bit off on it. It's like, but overall, it was a really, really solid album, really engaging album. Definitely one of the releases of the month, if not the release of the month. Like I said in the last stream, it's going to be kind of hard to like compare because the other releases are mostly singles or compilation albums. I think this is just your super hot fire solo album of 2019. We had Asagi last year with his solo album, which was also chock full of collaborations, and then Shu's coming in here and like technically topping it with the star-studded list that he has. He has Jackie Vincent, who's, former, founding member and original badass shredder guitarist from Falling in Reverse on here, and that track blew my mind because he was on there with Dancho from NoGoD, and they just fucking just broke my brain open. with the music that they were making there. So, yeah, Shu from Galnerius did a solid job here. Great to see more solo albums from the pros of the pros. We can't just have Miyavi, being the only hyper talented guitarist. Just kind of putting solo albums out, putting collaboration albums out. It's good to see another collaboration album for sure. So I'm probably going to listen through it a few more times and kind of get my grasp on some of those songs that I thought were a little off, because it could just be me. It could always just be me, for the first time listening through, and then I listen, I'm in a different headspace, and it's like, oh, well, it's a little bit better. But I mean, usually I'm pretty confident about these things on the first try. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's all I had there. So if anyone wants to jump into the call-in waiting room, I don't see anyone. I know there's not a ton of people that are going to be able to see this live from what I was hearing, so I don't know how many people are actually watching live, but if you are watching live and you want to call in and talk about a band, a J-metal band of any kind, let me know by going into the Discord and hopping into the VKH live call-in waiting room. I'll see you and I'll drag you into the actual live call. Which is hidden, but I will grab you and pull you in and let you know. Otherwise, we can do it another time. I'll pick like a more high-profile stream, put it on a better day, that kind of thing. I need to figure out like when's the best day for people, and just pray to baby Jesus it works out for me as well. Once I figure that out, but. This is the only day I could do this week, and I don't have time to. Couldn't afford to wait on this one. This one was too exciting, I think, for me at least. I wasn't gonna wait. I'm sorry. In terms of a listening party, I wanted to hear this album. I was dying to hear it. So, in the meantime, I can go and let me look up what I have. I don't want to cover some of the more obvious ones because we did do a J-metal stream in December that you guys can go back and watch for Crossfaith, Cold Rain, and Sim. And sorry, don't mind me. Just messing with my moderator in Discord. No big deal. But let me see. What bands? What J-metal bands put stuff out this year? Let's see. I thought it was interesting. I didn't realize Loudwire had actually named Galnerius, who she was the leader for one of the one of the top 10 bands of 2017. Top 10 Japanese metal bands. Maximum Hormone, I know, had a couple singles out as a comeback. I guess the main one came out at the end of November. It was a story based around the guitarist who lost a lot of weight. I can relate to that. It looks like I lost a similar amount of weight to him. I think he lost me significantly. Maybe a little bit more. maybe a significant amount more. I don't know. But that was kind of amusing. I think it was Maximum the Hormone 2, isn't that what it's called? As in the sequel to the OG really cool Maximum the Hormone. Like song. Yeah. Let me see if I can pull up with the skinny real picture. Let me see. Bum, 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 bum. They're going to make a 360 music video of Kizashi. VRMB. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, they definitely should. I will watch that in VR. I will make a little cardboard thing. I'll put my my iPhone in it and just like duct tape it around my head and just kind of, go to town. I'm trying to find one where he's very clearly skinny. Let's see. Settings. Tools. Time. Past year. Okay, I guess this is my best bet. I don't want to show the PV, like, even if it's muted, because I'm pretty sure VAP or VAT music or whatever is gonna. I don't know. YouTube's getting weird, even if you show video, like silent video or anything like that. Yeah. So Maximum the Real over here is definitely lost weight, and so the PV was a whole narrative about how fans, there's certain fans that are like, I liked him better when he was fat, which, first of all, fuck off. Someone who also lost a lot of weight, like, fuck off. Like, if you think that about, I don't know, I don't want to, I've been told that by certain people, I don't want to be mean, but, like, fucking, it's like you're in such a minority if you think that about someone who was overweight and they lost a bunch of weight. Like, fuck off. Like, no, you're wrong. Change your opinion. I love you, but change your opinion. How about that? Is that more appropriate? No, thank you. Basically, it's like, no, okay, that's really nice that you preferred him big, but one, it wasn't healthy for him, and two, the vast majority of people don't actually. So maybe the people in your immediate vicinity who are used to you being a certain way, and the best way for them to cope with you changing in a way, and they can't handle change, and so their best way of coping with it is to make you change back. Like, sure, in which case, like, you should ditch those people. But no, most people, you getting more unhealthy, they're going to react more positively to you. Not, oh, I wish you were bigger than you were. It's, get out of here with that. All right, I'm speaking as someone who lives in Miami, which is like, it's the top 10% of attractive people in the state that is also the top 10% of attractive people in the United States. I'm telling you, like, default human reaction is they like you skinny and healthy. All right, it's when I say they, I mean people in general. It's only a net positive. It's all, like, yeah. So that made me really irritated. So I was like, oh, okay, he's gonna go. He makes a whole video like just shitting all over those people that, like, made fun of, like, or were like, oh, I liked you better when you were fat. It's like, and he did. He didn't shit all over him, but he did vomit on one of them. If you see how it starts out, or vomited near one. I don't know if he vomited on her or right in front of her, but like, yeah, like good. It's strikes a personal chord there. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a little out of control here. So yeah. And as for the song itself, it was pretty chill. It was pretty fun. Lots of shifts back and forth. Really catchy, chuggy chords. So yeah, let's see. I don't know what else came out. I only know their song used for Death Note. Oh man, they've had. I mean, they had an album come out in 2013. It was number one on Oricon for 3 weeks in a row. Which I don't know any other metal band that's done that in Japan for a while. And it was a very good album too. Yoshu Fukushu. It was very good. It earned that for sure. I hope they're gearing. If we get a Maximum of the Hormone album in 2019, like it will be just in time. Like I'm ready to rage again. So, yeah. Let's see who else was there. Okay. Let's put out albums or music. Oh, what's up, Winona? I just saw you in chat. Let me see here. Yeah, it's okay if we don't do columns this time. This stream, I can wait for a bigger stream. I just need like a couple bit. Honestly, I may just do like streams on big topics for a few streams in a row, so we can normalize a bunch of stuff, like the call-ins, so people just get used to it. They'll just get a bunch of eyes on it and just be like, oh, they're a call-in show, because that's kind of what we're gonna slowly turn into. I'm not just gonna. I didn't just set it all up just so that we don't use it a couple times. Where it's gonna be a core part of the show moving forward. So, we just gotta get you guys out of get you guys to not be so shy, you know. But you know, let's see. Honestly, that'll probably be a net positive in general if you just do like a series of big topics. Big bands, that kind of stuff. Just like, just get a real nice, fresh injection of attention. Or just, you know, I think our Discord can handle it now. We've been flying under the radar long enough. I guess Psy is a band that someone recommended. I should probably, yeah, I'll look at them. I'll add them to the potential first-time listening party. I should do a first-time listening party, like brand new J-Metal first-time listening party or something. Because a lot of these were like Live Moon, I've never heard. Thousand Eyes, I've never heard. Tears of Tragedy, never heard. Psy, I've never heard. Undead Corporation, I've only heard PVs, but I don't know if that counts. Let's see. Oh, baby metal. We can talk about baby metal. Yeah, fuck you, imaginary person saying no right now. I'm not sure if there's a no or not, but in the chat, but maybe in after hours to test first. No, I actually already tested it, so it should work fine. I tested it with Delta. Delta came on, so it's no. Asuka said no. Asuka, come get on and tell me what you think about Baby Metal. That should be an easy answer. They put out a single called Distortion, I believe. I wasn't too big on it. I'm not imaginary. See, I surprised you. I didn't say it was the best thing ever. I actually wasn't too big on Distortion. Did they put out anything else? Let's see. Damn, I really took the wind out of my own sails by, like, you know, already doing a stream covering Sim, Cold Rain, and Crossfaith. Those are kind of my go-tos, if I'm being honest. Oh, they had a single called Starlight I didn't even bother listening to. Okay, but Baby Metal I'm talking about. Well, Distortion felt very like anime opening. It felt very, it was okay. It was okay. In retrospect, it was okay. I still maintain Metal Resistance. Their last album was a legitimately solid metal album. And everybody who thinks otherwise is in denial. And that's okay. And you know what? I bet a lot of those people that are in denial about that are going to be in denial about how garbage 1OK Rock's upcoming album is. So we'll be on the flip side of these things. Don't you worry. You know, we'll see. I know how these go. I usually, there's a good 20% of takes I have that, like, you know, a lot of people disagree with me on, but I know I'm right. So I'm getting off at the right time, off the train at the right time with Distortion. But all y'all that jumped off like from the get-go with Baby Metal, you messed up. You missed some good stuff. You missed Metal Resistance. You missed some good stuff. So you can come fight me on that if you want. The vocals are cringy. Okay, yeah, because it's little girls. Yeah. The backing band, the comedy band is great. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. See, this is the problem is that, like, you know, we need to wait for more VK members to become metal legends so that they can join the commie band. So you don't need to have a J-pop idols, because that's what it took to make, you know, Baby Metal make enough money to pay all of those legendary metal band members that they have in the commie band. You know, let's be real. Like, it's fucking, you know, scruffy dude in cargo in cargo pants number 38 isn't gonna do it for putting asses in seats of stadiums, my guys. You know, I can vouch for Visual K, like you know, they got the star power and everything. They can put asses in seats if they get big enough. It's just gotta be like, you know, a slow, steady grind. But you know, when you're talking about growing a band real fast, you know, it's like you're drawing from like who's the best of metal and this and that, and you go and you pull your average metal band, and it's like some guy's like this, and he's like, you know, wearing clothes that are. These aren't that great of clothes. Like they're wearing clothes that are shittier than these, and like, you know, it's like, you know, like clothes that I would use to paint in. Like, it's just not gonna work as well for a front band. But you know, I guess they make shit that slaps. So that, you know, that works for some people. But I hate to break it to people, it doesn't work for stadium sellers. Stadium filler promoter people, you know, promoters tasked with filling a stadium, and it's not going to be enough. They need pop stars, or they need a Gax or something like that. They need someone who can, you know, have that level of personality, I guess. I don't know. Maybe metal's inherently antisocial like that, but I'm pretty sure Metallica filled stadiums. I'm pretty sure Extra Pan filled stadiums. So it can be done. So we should find the ultimate frontman that can come in and scoop the commie band out away from the J metal, or away from the baby metal girls, to sate everybody who's kind of against it. You guys should let me know which front band you think would be the ultimate replacement for the girls from baby metal. You can't say any metal vocalist. You have to think realistically about this. So, anywho, yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and call it there for now. This is a good warm up. I'm honestly, part of the reason I'm doing this is to like help build my stamina a bit in terms of how I can stream, and I'm feeling my voice starting to give out anyways. But I think if I stop now, I'll push it to a healthy muscle building limit. I assume that's how it goes. You said it, Gax. Yeah, okay. Yep, Gax. Put Gax on baby metal. Oh, that's pretty good. Or Gax plus commie band. That's pretty solid. So yeah, I'll go ahead and end it here. And this is a pretty good setup I have. I'm pretty happy with the way the streams went, I think. You guys probably can't even tell. This one looks probably pretty similar to the last one, but trying a few things behind the scenes. We'll try Collins another night. That's fine. I'm trying to find a series of dates that I can do and just lock it in weekly, because I'm gonna have to take care of some stuff personally but I can kind of build my schedule around stuff. So I kind of need to lock in to whatever time most people are down with and whatever topics most people are down with, and kind of cruise for a few weeks on that. If it works out long term, then the more the better, I guess, or then that's all the better. So but anyways, thanks a bunch, guys, for checking out the stream. Fuki for baby metal. Oh God, there it is. Fuki plus commie band. Oh, that would destroy. Why didn't I think of that? Shaking my head. Well done, Chimera Blitz 007. So, yeah. Thanks for the stream, says Asuka. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for watching all this time, Asuka. It's good to see you. Good to see. Brent. I don't think he's watching tonight, but we got Brent in the Discord finally. That you and Brent were some of the OG viewers, so to speak. So, yeah. Thanks, guys, for checking out the stream. And if you're seeing this later, if you're new to this, join our Discord. We use it for more than just call-ins, obviously, because we didn't do call-ins tonight. But we're building a whole little community in there. Definitely check it out. Our main website, where we post like a shitload of news, especially lately, is VKH-press.com. If you want all things like J-Rock and Visual K, it's where you should go. So. Yeah, so be good to one another, and I will see you guys on Saturday, I guess. We're going to be talking on Saturday. Do I have a teaser for you? Do I have a teaser photo for you? I think I have a teaser for those of you who made it to the end. Come on. It's not done. It looks kind of bad, actually, but I'll just Hold on one second. Struggling over here. So we are talking about the purge, the January purge, from the January 2019 purge, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be our topic for Saturday. So we will be going over the series of bands that got ruthlessly purged out of existence. And that'll be Saturday. So, yeah. I'll talk to y'all later, and look forward to that. Peace out.